I am always doing my best to stay inspired, to bring my best to my life, as a husband, a dad, and as a leader. One of the ways I do this is by traveling. I get excited packing a bag for a trip, whether for a quick road trip down an Alberta highway or a plane ride to a new city. People who know me know that I am equally excited about encouraging others to travel. There's so much we can learn from others while we're on the road, and I hope I can inspire you to see what's out there. My wife and I recently spent a few days in Portland, Oregon. Our family stepped up to take care of the kids while we were away, and we had a great time. Getting to Portland is fairly easy. From Edmonton, you fly to Vancouver, and then Portland is a quick 50 or so minute flight. There are many great reasons to visit Portland, but here are 3 reasons it made sense for us: budget, experiences, and food. First of all, in budget. In terms of money and time, when deciding where to go, I'll usually crunch the numbers. 4 nights in Portland came in roughly $1,000 cheaper than some more conventional cities we might typically enjoy visiting, like Chicago or New York. From Edmonton, it's only about 2.5 hours in the air to get to. So we knew we could get more for our dollar and time by choosing Portland. We like to stay in a city's downtown core because it allows us to experience the city by doing a lot of walking. Staying downtown also has a way of saving some money on ground transportation. I'd prefer not to rent a car and put the money towards staying in a nicer hotel. While in Portland, we stayed at the Hyatt Centric downtown, and it was great. The team was friendly and helpful, and the hotel was beautiful and creatively designed. The hotel's location also put us within walking distance of some notable restaurants, pubs, bakeries, and cafes. The second reason we chose Portland was for the experiences. I visited Portland for work about 13 years ago, and I remember enjoying my time there and have wanted to return for some time. This would be a brand new experience for Tammy, and we knew we'd have some fun. I've been telling Tammy about the Japanese garden in Portland for years, and I was actually afraid that I might have been overhyping the place. However, it's still one of the most beautiful and peaceful experiences. I can't overstate how at ease we felt walking through this space. You could sense the immense attention to detail and care that went into every square inch of the garden. At the time of our visit, there was a special art exhibit featuring a local artist with art made from glass and plant life. When you go, be sure to go in the morning and plan to enjoy traditional Japanese tea before leaving. We both felt refreshed and inspired after walking through this space. I've known this for a while, but it was confirmed while during this visit. Everyone loves peace. The Japanese garden in Portland cultivates peace and generously shares with everyone who visits. We also paid a visit to Powell's City of Books. When visiting Portland, you must make sure you visit Powell's City of Books. Make sure it's on your list. It's the world's largest independent bookstore for new and used books. If you like reading, you could easily spend an entire morning or afternoon exploring this fantastic store. I'd even go as far as to suggest that even if you're not into reading, A visit to Powell's will inspire you to want to read more. We don't consider ourselves shoppers, but we found it tough to resist picking up some books and gifts on this trip. Another experience I'd like to highlight was the hike and bike Columbia River Gorge Hidden Waterfalls tour offered by Around Portland, a local tour company. The tour equipped us with bikes, helmets, snacks, and a guide who took us along the historic Columbia River Highway. While it was cold and raining, it was an unforgettable experience that we would probably do again, even if it were raining. We biked and hiked around Multnomah Falls, Wakena Falls, and others for an entire morning and early afternoon. All of them were spectacular, but the most impressive was Multnomah Falls. Tammy and I both remarked that we felt like we were in a scene from the Lord of the Rings movies. I can't imagine the thousands of stories inspired by these magnificent falls. The exercise and experience made the time well spent. Some people travel to visit a popular attraction or landmark. Others go for shopping. When we travel, we love to experience the local food scene. The best way to connect with any community is through the food it offers. Experiencing the tastes and flavors of the local food scene is a great way to understand the culture of any city you might visit. My best vacations are the ones where you connect with great food. When you travel, your senses tend to be heightened, and you have a way of being more mindful of what you're eating. Portland has a legendary food scene and has a lot to offer in terms of experiences that will leave you feeling full and satisfied. Portland is notable for attracting lovers of coffee and beer. Those who love either or both will often make a pilgrimage to this city to partake of these soul-fueling drinks. As a result, there are dozens of great cafes and brew pubs in Portland. My favorite brew pub on this trip was Treebeard's Tap House, a Lord of the Rings themed tap house designed for those who are fans of those stories. I love the Gandalf quote on the entrance, "Speak, friend, to enter." For those of you who have forgotten, that was the riddle the Fellowship of the Rings had to solve to enter the mines of Moria. In case you're wondering, the answer to that riddle is the Elvish word for friend, Melon. I didn't have to use the password. I just went in and had a friendly visit. There were at least 33 different drinks available. I found that a little bit intimidating because I'm familiar with none of the offerings. What I like to do when I come across a big menu is take a chance and trust that a server knows the menu well enough to make some helpful suggestions. All I had to do was tell the server what I didn't like, and I was open to anything else. He nodded and simply said, "I got this. Let me pick some of my favorites for you." I also enjoyed a pretzel and waited for him to bring me a flight of beers, and I made short work of it. I enjoyed each one. There was enough variety to keep the experience exciting, and at the end of the tasting, I couldn't settle on a favorite because they were all great. Tammy and I wanted to try the restaurant Kashka. This eatery was featured on Somebody Feed Phil episode on Netflix. Kashka features Russian and Eastern European cuisine. We have never said to ourselves at any time, "Hey, let's go have Russian food tonight." So this visit was a bit out of left field for us. It's also odd considering the current conflict in Ukraine. That being said, I was impressed by their explicit support of Ukraine and made the decision to book when I read their statement of support. I was also intrigued that this was a no-tipping restaurant. A few years ago, someone started a restaurant with a similar concept in Edmonton. Sadly, it did not last. How did a no-tipping environment impact the experience at Kashka? All of the staff were smiling, hardworking, and extremely hospitable. The food was delicious and arrived at our table relatively quickly. At one point, our server brought an extra serving of dumplings because they felt bad about a slight delay in delivery because they were serving a larger party. We certainly were not looking for this, but we appreciated it and loved the spirit of generosity. The menu was foreign to us, but our server patiently and kindly walked through the offerings and made some helpful suggestions. This restaurant had a great culture, and we would be happy to go back and support them in the future. In terms of the food quality, what impressed me most was that the goal of the kitchen was to prepare the dishes as authentically as possible without the pomp and circumstance. It was wonderful and delicious. The restaurant had a genuine sense of welcome and hospitality. I'm really glad we tried it. If anything, to be reminded that being great doesn't mean you have to go out of your way to be unusual. You just need to put your heart into whatever you're doing and be authentic. So let's talk about donuts. When in Portland, you must have some donuts. Most people would have heard about Voodoo Donuts and the strange and creative donut offerings. While they certainly get a lot of attention, I would rather point you in the direction of Blue Star Donuts, one of Portland's great homegrown businesses. My wife and I agree that while Voodoo Donuts has a catchy gimmick and brand, Blue Star Donuts has substance, flavor, and a much better experience from start to finish. We enjoyed it so much that we went back for a second experience. My favorite donut was the Cointreau Crème Brûlée. With a name like that, you would expect a torched sugar surface and a cream-filled center. But the small portion filled with orange liqueur is next level. The quality and creativity of the donuts made us feel extra happy to be alive. If you're in Portland, I recommend doing a bit of research and trying at least 2 or more different donut shops. Let me tell you about Magna Cucina, a Filipino restaurant we visited. Up until this last trip, I had never visited a James Beard Award-winning restaurant. Well, not to my knowledge anyways. I do know that a restaurant would have to stand out in order to win that kind of prize. The field is full and vast when it comes to competing restaurants who are doing everything they can to succeed. My wife and I had some familiarity with Filipino food, but this was our first time having a more in-depth experience. We tried the sisig and some barbecued meats, and I even got to try a cocktail that featured ingredients from the Philippines. Again, like the previous restaurants I've described, I was really encouraged by the hospitality and service. Friendly and down to earth. You'd never know that they were recognized on the world stage as an award-winning restaurant because they were so authentic and friendly and easygoing. Great food and great heart. As you can probably tell by now, I could talk about food forever because I love it. And Portland has a lot of great food. But Portland also has a lot of amazing qualities that definitely makes it worth a visit. I had visited a long time ago before I even met my wife, and I've been talking about the city for such a long time, and I was worried that maybe I was overhyping it. But as it turns out, it is still a great option when you're looking at a budget, when you'd like great experiences, and definitely when you'd like to have some great food. So, take someone you care about along on your journey and visit a place like Portland.